the one and only Carl Gabriel, a friend, a colleague, an associate, um, among many things. One of the individual who has been instrumental in my induction in Notting Hill Carnival. When you had the band Misty,
yeah.
That's many moons ago. However, that was a brief period of your existence as far as the culture and the arts is concerned. And I think that is where your whole artistic side actually come out. Carl,
Yes, sir.
engineer, photographer, not only engineer and photographer, band leader,
Motivator.
motivator, you're everything, and that brings me to the fact that you're not only just here now. You come from the Trinidad state of Trinidad and Tobago, originally.
Yeah.
Where did this start? Where this whole love and this thirst and wanting for the culture, as it is in the fact of you producing these lovely pieces, not only for culture but for exhibition and that kind of thing, Carl?
Well, obviously, I suppose the love for it has always been with me. I mean, when the first, the first introduction I had to this in London here, it's with the Ebony Steel Band. You know, that time I was a photographic enthusiast. You know, I had my little Bromley camera, and somebody mentioned that there's a carnival in Notting Hill. You know, and I thought, oh, carnival, you know, obviously once as a Trini you hear carnival, you think, well, that's we invent that, that's we thing, you know.
Yeah.
So then I find myself down at Abu Grove, and that's in the 70s, about 72, 73. And the first band I saw, I met up with, was Ebony.
Okay.
Ebony Stephen. And at that time, the heart of the carnival was Portobello Road. Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't
bridge.
as we know it today.
Nah.
It was everything was centered around that Portobello Road area.
Yeah. Well, that's, yes. You know, and I saw Ebony coming up, as we say, Portobello Road. It's now a one-way, but they were coming the other way towards sort of like Goulburn roadside. And obviously I stuck with them all day taking pictures. And then I thought, well, after the carnival, I wanted to get involved. I wasn't a pan player. I didn't know anything about playing pan. I mean, I knew about pan, but I didn't know anything. I couldn't play pan. I thought, well, I'd love to. As a Trini, I should be able to do that. And I found out where they were rehearsing, and it so happened that they were rehearsing close to me. I used to live in Acton, Shepherd Bush Acton, and they were rehearsing not too far from me. So I joined them. I went along to a couple of the practice, and from then I joined the band and ended up being one of the main person in the band. Yeah.
Okay, and that was as a pan player, or that was just administration
As
at
a
the
pan
band?
player, as a pan player,
Okay.
and as we call it, a gopher.
I'll go for administration.
I end up driving the van, and you
Yeah.
know, and that sort of thing, you know. And I'm coming on to the technical side. You know, as I say, I've been taking pictures from them, documenting what I saw, you know. And it comes a time when you kind of get fed up taking the same old, well, I should say old, but the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that time I was into engineering, and I felt, I could make a contribution in some way. And I just brought my type of technique, my technical ability to
And that's from the engineering side.
And that's from the engineering side. So everything I do is always in the 3D. It's very technical and elaborate.
So when we hear the word 3D, we see Carl Gabriel next to it, because what I'm seeing currently and what I've seen throughout the years with your work and your style sort of supersedes the whole idea of 3D. I mean, 3D is the big word, and all this 3D this, 3D that, 3D the other. But this is something you've been doing for many of years.
Yeah, because again, I approach it with the attitude, mentality of right. In the environment that we're in, we've got a lot of outlet in terms of, national art, organizational things like on the VNA and places like that. And I thought, well, if I'm going to produce any work, the work's got to be good. It should be good enough to be able to display in those places, And from day one, my approach was with that sort of attitude that my work is going to end up there. And within like 2 years of me doing what I'm doing, my work was at the VNA. I did 2 exhibitions at the VNA. I did workshops and stuff like that at the VNA. And then from there, just went international. So been to America, India, Germany, Ghana, all over the place, teaching and showing people this type of work. So you've traveled extensively
as far as this work is concerned.
Yeah.
And people hearing this work, they'll be privileged to see some of the pieces. However, what is this work called?
Right.
There must be a name for it.
This work is, I call it Carnival art, but using traditional characters and traditional skills, but with addition of 3D language. Yeah. So I know that's sort of like what's he talking about, but if I meet you and you're into engineering, I'll be able to pitch my language to suit to what you know. At this stage, I've got to be sort of broad and flexible with the language. So if I go into a university and they're doing 3-dimensional and they're using CAD and they're using all this sort of thing, I've got to be able to talk to them in that language.
Yeah. Because what I've noticed is that with your work, there's a lot of recycled material, and I think we must say kudos to you for recycling, because we have this idea that the world cannot continue to sustain itself as it is. However, we have to look at how we reuse what we have and to sustain ourselves, because we cannot source more. Well, it comes to a point where we run out of places to source what we need. And with that, I can see a lot of cardboard around me, and I'm wondering what all this cardboard is, because when you think about cardboard, you think that's supposed to be disposable, that's supposed to throw away. I see a lot of there's this metal cable or wire wraps around cables. So I know time to time the electricity companies or the telephone companies will change their wiring, and with that you will have a lot of waste coming from that. And I see a lot of that is within this space, which is where we call your workshop. I've seen a lot of this taking place. Is that deliberate?
That is, it's easy for me to approach my work with that sort of material in mind, because I've gone over the stage where the technical part is done, the shapes, the form, the angles, that's done. So then if I'm gonna put a skin on it or cover it, what material you're gonna use?
Complete it, to complete it.
And from day one, I decided, it's gonna be reclaimable recycle material. I mean, I like to take a picture of that before you go, so that, you know, did I send you one of those?
No, not yet.
So then it will explain, you know, from day one, this sort of thing I do. Obviously, you know.
You make some purchase. You make the odd purchase here and there.
When I say purchase, when I say the odd purchase?
Because some of your stuff, I mean, everything cannot necessarily be sourced from a reject pile.
No, right.
Everything cannot be sourced from a reject pile.
Right. But, you know, if you purchase thinking, right, that is what we're going to use. And again, because I know that that is the material I'm going to use, on my travels and stuff, I see stuff, I thought, well, I could work with that. And I would obtain it, I'll get it and have it ready.
So don't tell me a 60-mile journey with you could be full of several stops. Well, because as you go along, the mind is always engaged.
It's always looking for stuff that I could use in my art, in my creation, you know. And when I do see things that I think, well, yeah, I could use that, I'm out my van, out my car, whatever it is, in the back, in the boot, and that's it. But obviously there's a problem with that because you gotta keep it somewhere. And in London, that's our biggest problem, is where to store this stuff, you know. Because I might see it as valuable material, but other people see it as a lot of rubbish.
As waste,
disposable stuff, you know. So most of my work is wire and paper.
And no, I haven't, I mean, based on what I see here, I have not seen any specific piece repeat itself. Is that by design or is it just deliberate? You don't intend to repeat a piece?
Well, I don't need to repeat a piece because I'm not looking to create work to sell.
Okay.
You know, most of my work is, I'm again fortunate enough that most of the project I've got, or most of the work you see, has been commissioned.
Okay.
By either local authority or large art organization for a specific event where there's a sort of cross-cultural thing like Diwali or St. Patrick's Day or something like that, you know? So I'm able to make these pieces specifically for...
Yeah. So they already have their home.
They've got their home, yeah? But again, they've got their home, but because of the size, again, as you notice, size matters to me. I like big, yeah? And obviously the client would feel that when they pay for the work, oh, we're going to keep this, we're going to have this, you know? And they probably envision going to keep it somewhere, but because of the size, once you put it in a normal sort of space building, it fills up the space. So then they just call me and say, please, can you take it back? You know? And then,
it becomes too much for them.
Yeah. It's not something people are accustomed, you know, sort of hosting that sort of size of work, you know? So yeah.
So seeing what you do, because as you say, it is it's a sort of dual kind of process, because you're working with that engineering skill, and it's all about structure, making structures, which traditionally we will call wire bending.
Yeah.
In where Carnival arts is concerned. Beyond the wire bending, and the forming of your structure. The next stage is covering these pieces. What it takes to cover these pieces? What is it? A special art? Is it something that is hand down from tradition, or is it something that you have developed for yourself?
Again, the roots of it is tradition, but I think we all have certain ability, you know, and I feel I just got this ability. So I'm working from tradition, from what I heard when I used to go to mass camp, as we call it, you know, hear the elders and them talking, and you know, what really keeps them going is that they're telling each other stories about what they used to do home and prices they win and what they win with. And as I'll be there taking pictures of them and listening to those stories. So when I'm doing my work, some of those stories are just
regurgitate itself in your brain.
And then by being in this environment here, we got access to a lot of stuff that those pioneers and elders didn't have. So I'm able to utilize that.
And you're saying this conversation that you would have heard is of you being in London, or is that something that you brought with you from Trinidad?
No, well, those conversations what I heard in London.
Okay.
But what I brought with me is memories of being in my godmother's sort of gallery, as we call it, you know, because my godmother used to live right on what we call Rochester Street, and that's a street that leads straight down to Skinner Park in San Fernando, and that's where all the bands used to.
So you was in the belly of the beast.
Right, but I was about 7, 8 years old then.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, those things sticks in your head.
The memory, the memory.
It sticks in your head. Yeah. And then obviously, if you at some time you decide you're going to do designs and stuff, you know, that you just regurgitate that, and it comes up, and you have that as a base, a foundation to work on. You know, and again, you know, because the technical part is done more or less. You've got that capacity to bring all that other stuff on board. You know, and again, if you want to make a statement, you tend to go to the extreme, and that my mind sort of just go to the extreme. And my whole attitude is that if I'm going to present something, say like when I bring a band and I'm going to make a presentation, it's got to knock out the competition. You know, there should be no question.
There should be no doubt about
it.
What,
you know, and I just go to the extreme. Where you see the size of the work, it's big. It's sort of like, you know. And another thing I decided, I'm not going to put anything on people, any of those big costumes on people back. So it's going to be more like a float. And in this environment that we're living in now, float is more
applicable to the environment
than a big costume, because from what I heard and the feeling I get is that when these guys are carrying these big masks in Trinidad, it's for a reason, you know, spiritual, you know, comes into it, you know. It's like if they're paying a penance, you know, and it's for a reason. So they'll be putting on the most weighty, heaviest costume, but they're doing it for a reason.
They're doing it for a reason,
you know.
Okay.
But here, you know, the masquerader just want to
know.
It's
a
showcase, and they want to look at their wine in it, because, and again, the masqueraders here, they feel from the time they put on a costume, they have to wine and get on. Well, you know, I know that you put a costume on and you portray it. You portray it. You're wearing a sort of way. You show it respect. But
that is not the case.
You put on your costume, you get as much rum down here, and I was
hoping to digress to your opinion of Carnival and how you see it.
Well,
but you have already gone there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of